joking.
All right, Janice, no more cussing.
No more joking.
2 minutes.
Mike.
Did we leave some bids on? Yeah, but it was because we already approved them, but I don't think we understood that she needed to take them off because it's a consent agenda. It should be there, but it was separate.
Okay, this chair's on.
Was what I was saying. So, but we need to put them back on.
Right here.
There's nothing we can do about today, right?
That's all I need. That's all I need. That would probably not be so good.
As a consent agenda. Right.
So it's not a consent agenda?
No, mine's fine.
It's just for discussion.
I think it was just
Yeah, we're okay.
standing.
Yeah.
But it was on next time. Okay. For today's
All right.
it was already approved. So you can take that for
There
whoever's.
it is. All right, we got 1 minute.
So he'll go over it. Okay. Mike will go over it.
Oh, okay.
Look at you. You came prepared. All that good stuff, huh? All right. Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Kansas City, Kansas Community College Board of Trustees meeting October 16th, 2018 at our Pioneer Career Center. I would like to have Ms. Marcia Irvine, Director of the Pioneer Center, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Trustee Ash.
Here.
Trustee Brown.
Here.
Trustee Criswell.
Here.
Trustee Daniels.
Here.
Trustee Garner.
Here.
Trustee McIntyre.
Here.
Trustee Sutton.
Thank you.
On the cruise.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, do we have anyone that would like to speak the audience to patrons petitioners? Okay, seeing.
Can I introduce the culinary?
I was getting ready to, but you go right ahead. No. Please, you know them better than I.
All right.
You can spread them out. You can come up here and talk for a minute. You guys can go up there.
We want to see who did all that great cooking.
Yes.
Wow. It's a big crew. Yeah.
Go to the side and then face the board. So slide over.
Smile.
There you go. Kind of spread the waters.
Hey, that's
The
better.
nose is spread
Yeah.
the sea.
There you go.
There you go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to have Chef Kelly talk and Chef Alfredo, but anyways, everybody knows that culinary was where I originally started at with the college, and I just want to say you guys did an amazing job. The food was outstanding, and Chef Kelly, Chef Alfredo, thank you for all you do, and truly delicious, excellent job. I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm going to turn it over to you all.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to share with all of you that all of our students in different areas of the program did different parts this morning. So we have Chef Alfredo's group that is actually in Foods 3 that did all the hot dishes and things for you guys. And then we have our other group that just started baking, and they're the ones that made all the 3 different varieties of scones for you. And then we have our new students that just started this semester, so they haven't been here very long. They have been doing knife skills and things like that, and they did all the pumpkin carving and decorating of the pumpkins that were in the room. So kind of did a combined effort for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed.
We did. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
And we were talking, we said, wonder how early they had to get up this morning to have all this ready. What time did you have to get here? Woo.
Yeah.
Thank you
Very
very
early
much.
morning.
Everything was wonderful.
I just wanted to say, guys, thank you very much for everything, for waking up at 5:30, coming here at 6. That was good. And we're just going to have a brand new menu for next year. That's it.
Oh, all right.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and enjoying our food.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Now we'll move on to our board committee reports. Do we have any reports from the committees? I know our policy committee is going to meet after this meeting, so we'll have one for you the next time. And the board of directors had a retreat on October the 6th, and we really had a great opportunity. Our facilitator was Helen Benjamin, and this was an opportunity for the board to come together, and we have set some goals that we will review later on in the agenda. Thank you. All right, may I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, we will have a report from the Student Senate, and I believe Dr. Mosier is going to introduce them.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's good to see everybody. We are so excited today. Aren't you guys excited? Yes. I would like to first introduce, and then we're going to pass this on to Dr. Mosier to do a first time ever here at Pioneer Career Center, our Student Senate.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Pioneer Career Center.
Thank you.
So,
Before we start, Dr. Mosier, we do the induction.
They want to introduce themselves real quick? Would you mind, please state your name and what position?
my name is Kevin Rivers, and I am the president of the Pioneer Career Center.
Great.
Excellent.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is William Lapie, and I am the Vice President of the Student Senate.
All right.
Excellent.
Hello, I'm Gabby, and I am parliamentarian.
Good morning. I'm Sheree Reagan, and I will be the secretary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Well, it's very good to have you with us this morning, and we are very excited to have a Student Senate representation at the Pioneer Career Center. As Ms. Andrika said, this is the first time, and so this is a very significant occasion, and we congratulate you on the appointment of your positions. So at this time, I would like for you to recite the Student Senate office oath. So will you please say aye and state your name?
I,
Kevin Lapie. And then repeat after me, please. Hereby affirm that I will faithfully serve the students of Kansas City, Kansas Community College Pioneer Career Center.
Whoa. That's a mouthful.
Community College Pioneer Career Center. Pioneer Career Center. Sorry, my mind's a little bit lagging, so my apologies.
No problem. Act in accordance with the Student Senate
Act in accordance with the Student Senate Constitution.
exemplify school spirit,
exemplify school spirit,
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities
and fulfill all the duties and responsibilities
as, and state your name, no, I'm sorry, state your position.
President,
Vice President,
Secretary.
Of the Student Senate for the students.
Of the Student Senate for the students.
I will, to the best of my ability,
I will, to the best of my ability,
strive to achieve the high level of expectation that accompanies my position.
strive to achieve the
Level of
level of expectation that accompanies my position
Of the Pioneer Career Center Student Senate.
of the Pioneer. I thought we were all going to do it together. So.
That's right, go ahead.
And you can read it. You can read it. Turn your paper around and read it.
Yep. Of the Pioneer Career Center Student Senate.
At Kansas City, Kansas Community College Pioneer Career Center.
All right.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Would you like to come up and shake the board's hand? Please. Okay, everyone. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you and
Congratulations.
thank you and welcome to Pioneer.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Looking for great things. Congratulations.
Thanks for serving.
Congratulations.
You're welcome and thank you.
Thank you for serving. Thank you for serving.
Do they have another reporter that was just?
So today, we are going to talk about what we've done at the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Pioneer Career Center up until now and the future events that we will be having. So I am Kevin Rivers. I am a high school graduate from Leavenworth High School, and I started here right in the fall of August 2016. And of course, all parents say go to college right after high school, and with KCKCC, the closest college here, that's what I've done. I started in the office assistant program, and not only did I start there while working at Walmart, I also got a part-time job here at the college. So not only did I get a job here at the college, I also was able to get work experience while also studying for my degree. So far, I have already graduated twice from Kansas City, Kansas Community College with 2 certificates, and this will be my last semester in getting my actual associate's degree.
Wonderful.
All right. Very good.
I also want to state that we have came a long way. When I started as a work study and intern, I was in charge of many duties, one being helping with the students and also participating in events that we have here. So one of the most notable events that we've had are our back to school events, and besides setting up and helping the students, you know, getting them enthusiastic about coming back to college for the semester, I was also in charge of taking pictures, something that I learned in high school and I've taken with me here. So I posted the pictures, many of the posts that we have on our Facebook page, that is me. That's what I posted. And when we started, we had around 230 likes, and up to now, we almost have 500.
Wow.
So, all right, thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Are you going to finish the list of activities?
Yes, so we have done 3 welcome back bashes serving nearly 200 and 300 students each. We have also, during some of those events, had blood drives in which we've gotten roughly around 20 people to donate blood from the community. And 3 years we've been participating in the Leavenworth Veterans Day Parade, and many of the tech students were a part of that, so they even created some of their own floats. Construction did, CNA were in their nurse clinical outfits, and even office assistant was out there holding the banner, "Here we are, Pioneer Career Center." And we've had 3 finals breakfasts, cookies with Santa, where students were actually in here and they were, taking pictures with Santa and eating cookies for the winter semester. And then finally, we've had 3 United Way fundraisers where we've raised nearly $800 from the community that went towards many organizations. And then finally, we just recently had our pizza with the president, who came up here and we all voiced our concerns and our expectations and what we want to have here at the Pioneer Career Center. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
For our upcoming events, we're going to kick off our United Way fundraising goal. We have a goal of $800 again this semester. We're going to start off with chili feed and silent auctions, and then we are going to do a Halloween event on October 29th from 6 to 8, inviting the community to come share in this fun holiday ritual. And hopefully we'll have about 200 to 300 people attend, students, and bring their families in. And that will be located in the gym. We have a larger capacity. So if you guys don't have anything to do on the 29th, come on up and join us in our Halloween celebration. On Monday, November 12th, we will be walking in the Veterans Day Parade. Actually, we'll have a float this year rather than walking, but we anticipate to have at least 12 to 15 staff students participate in the event. In December, probably early December, we'll have Cookies with Santa event, which is another winter event, and then the finals breakfast in the spring we'll have. We always would like to invite you anytime you're in the area to come by and see what we're doing and how we're doing it, offer suggestions if you want. We're really proud of what we're doing here, and we hope to make you proud too. Do you have any questions for us?
Any questions? We appreciate you taking on the opportunity to be a part of the committee, and we are looking forward to great things from you.
Mr. Lee, any share concerns?
All right. So, again, my name's William Lepee, Vice President of the Student Senate. And as said, this is the first time we're doing the Student Senate, so that's the first time for everybody. And as I've been around with, fellow students and such, I've noticed of some concerns, but don't know if they're actual concerns or not. So I think that's the first part we're going to be working on, seeing if there's any actual concerns that we can bring up and such. So, all right. Well, right now our first one is thinking of a better way to market the Pioneer Career Center specifically. So that's the first thing that came to my mind, and the rest, well, I guess we'll be learning throughout the years. You guys got any questions?
I think that's a good task to take on.
Thank you.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And last but not least, we have to, this has been a work in progress since 2015. And the office staff here at Pioneer Career Center, we really should give them a round of applause. Marcia, Shelley, Cherie, can we do that? I mean, they really have done a lot of work to prepare for this day, and it may seem like, wow, it took that long, but it really did. We introduced them to the internship program here at the college. I mean, we were able to bring interns up here, and now it's blown up. They've got like 3 or 4 or so interns, and these students led all these activities from the past, and so these students here are moving on for future stuff. So we're really excited what's going to happen here at the Pioneer Career Center. They're going to be working on clubs. That's the next thing that's on their to-do list. So look forward to hearing some more things here from the Pioneer Center. Thanks.
Great.
I do have a question, if I may. What other clubs are involved? I mean, do you have other clubs on campus here that are a part of your Senate?
Our largest is the Skills USA organization, where all the tech students participate in that, and then they compete in state and in national competitions.
Right. Okay.
So.
And we also the Skills USA. We also do the officer elections, where each year we elect of local levels, we elect district, and we even elect state. And I speak with experience because I am currently the local level AM president of the Skills USA officers.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate all of you, and thank you very much. May I have a motion to accept the Student Senate report?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great job. Motion carries. All right. At this time, we will have the President's report. Dr. Mosier.
Great, thank you very much. So lots of incredible things going on across all of our locations for Kansas City, Kansas Community College. And this is week 9, so we're starting the second half of the semester for students enrolling in second 8-week classes. As we mentioned before, we are streaming now, which is fantastic. So people can go to our homepage or the Board of Trustees webpage and click on a link and watch us live stream. So last month was our first month to do that, and we had 55 viewers. So that's terrific. And a tremendous thank you to the IT and multimedia staff, if you can see behind the scenes, to make all of this happen. They're really doing a terrific job and do so every month. So thank you to them. Let's give them a round of applause. So as our new Student Senate President announced last month, we did have the open forums that I'd like to hold. So we started off with Pizza with the President right here at Pioneer Career Center. And I would say we have had over 60 students participate. So it was a wonderful turnout, great support by the students and the faculty to let them attend this session. And I believe we gained a lot of really good insight from having that discussion. You know, they talked about some of the things that they like here, which is the staff is very helpful and friendly, and the faculty. The smaller class sizes and that one-on-one attention, it really helps them learn to achieve what they need to do to be successful. Some programs and courses that they would like to see here at Pioneer Career Center. Things like graphic design and art programs, more history courses, animation, some law-based classes, and maybe some cosmetology were some of the main items. Changes they would like to do, we were trying to fix up the facilities as we go along, so we're working on that. Possibly a little workout area, a place to play frisbee golf. A chess or a game club, some job shadowing experiences, maybe an international club, and additional communication with the high school. So really great input from the students, which is very valuable for what we're doing. Our next forum is with faculty and staff on main campus, and that is in a couple weeks. And we will do Pizza with the President on Thursday at the KCKCC's Technical Education Center on October 31st. So a great way to spend Halloween.
All right. Any questions?
I have a couple other items, if I may. So each year we go through and submit data to the Kansas Board of Regents, and there is a performance report that is created, and you have that report in front of you. Very pleased to report we're doing very well on the items that we're supposed to be working on and reaching. Just a few highlights. Number 1 is increase the first to second year retention rate of first-time, full-time, college-ready students. Looking from 2017 to 2016, we increased by 13% and retention in that area. So that's very significant. And a lot of that is due to our staff and our faculty that we have, and implementing a new early alert system, and also hiring a retention coordinator so someone can reach out and make personal contact with those students. And then increasing the number of scholarships that we offer students. We have one area that we did not hit the target. That's number 2, increase the number of certificates and degrees awarded. And in an economy when it's so strong like this, and the quality instruction that we have, oftentimes a lot of our students are hired before they graduate. So we'll continue to try and work with our employers to encourage the students to complete. And then just a couple other items. We received several significant grants during this last month. One by it's submitted by Dr. Hira Nair. It's a U.S. Department of Education grant in collaboration with Kansas State University and some other community colleges. And that's a $3 million grant over a 5-year period, and we'll be working with our education program here at the college. And then also with the work of Dr. Kramer and several other faculty and staff, we received a $200,000 grant from the Kauffman Foundation to help continue our STEM-focused after-school and Saturday programs. And then in our adult education and continuing education, we received an additional $35,000 from the state due to the good work that we're doing in adult ed and ESL to expand our capabilities. And then also as we're moving down into the downtown district, and we'll be providing our services at the KU School of Health. So a lot of very exciting things going on around campus. One item, we do have the strategic funding allocation. So if you'll recall, when we approved the overall budget, we set aside money to look at strategic initiatives. The group has gotten together, and we approved about 2/3 of the money to be spent, and then we'll come back in February and March, look at where we are, and we'll allocate that other third. So, and I'll have a detailed list that will go out to the board, so you can see all of the items that we have. So a lot of good work by everyone, and collaborative with the college at large, and then President's Extended Cabinet. So I thank everyone for their hard work on that budget.
Great. Any questions?
I'd just like to point out, I know, Mr. President, you mentioned the one area which was number 2 where we didn't meet goal, but out of the 6 areas, I'm just noticing we hit or exceeded goals in every one of those areas. And what really stands out to me is number 1, if you look at number 6, where it says increase fall to spring retention of non-college ready students, that's really important because our students are coming back. They know the value of the education, and to me that says that they know they're getting a good education here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. And then what stands out even more is the number 3, increase the percentage of students employed or that are transferred. So the students that are staying, getting a good education here, they're either getting a job or they're going on to a 4-year institution. So it really, for me, hits home that the great work that you, and along with the staff and our teachers and faculty here at the college are doing, number 1, to educate our citizens here in our service area, as well as hitting home the value of education here at Kansas Community College, because it's showing that people are getting employed and improving their destiny, are going on to a 4-year institution to further their education, which can enhance their opportunities in life. So I think that we really need to commend staff and our educators here at the Kansas Community College to hit and exceed these goals, other than in that area that you described, and I think that deserves a round of applause.
Great. I agree completely. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. We hit 5 out of 6, so I don't think that's a bad percentage. All right. Can I get a motion to accept the President's report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the President's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. we'll move on to our marketing and community outreach report.
Good morning, team.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you do have the complete report in front of you. I do want to make a correction, as Chair Brown discovered. I do have a typo.
No.
I know. So the Women's Chamber Purses with a Purpose event is actually October the 17th, not the 18th. So that would make it tomorrow evening at the Tech Center. Okay,
Didn't want anybody to miss it.
please come and attend.
If
Yes.
they wanted to attend.
We had a little more than 90 ladies RSVP to attend, and it is a fundraiser for scholarships. And KCKCC has been fortunate over the last, I want to say, 5 or 6 years to have a student receive a scholarship from the Women's Chamber. So it's very exciting. I love to see that. So the Family Fund, as you guys have heard me mention the last couple of meetings, we started at about 2% inclusion in that. And the Family Fund, again, is a giving platform for faculty and staff to give directly to the Foundation for Scholarships. So we have seen an increase from about 2% to a little more than 11% now in the past 40, 60 days-ish or so. And I do know that Dr. Bone has a friendly competition going with Dean Pope. I don't know what the agreement is or what one may have to do if one loses that.
Well, we have to buy lunch for the other one.
Okay.
Whoever wins gets lunch bought for them.
Okay.
And then if we get to 90%, if each of our departments gets to 90% or divisions, then they get to pick what they want for a reward. So taco bar day or ice cream or whatever they want to do.
Nice. So, of course, I encourage other deans to have a friendly competition, right? Yeah, that'll be exciting. So I'd love to see that. People are getting involved, and it speaks really well of us, right? That faculty, staff want to give back to our students in addition to providing amazing training for them. We had our Chiefs tailgate in the torrential downpour. We did it. We were there. We were wet, but we were there. We had about 50 signed up, and about half actually showed. So we're happy to see that. Blue made an appearance. The mascot showed up, so it was fun. I hope you guys saw that on Twitter and Facebook, some of the photos that we pushed out. Let me wrap up. So our social media, you've seen an uptick in usage, which is very exciting. And to, I guess, talk about very, very briefly, President Kevin, the Student Senate President here, he had mentioned marketing of the PCC. We as a cabinet just talked about that in our meeting just yesterday. So we do realize that that's something that we need to focus on. And in fact, I don't know, I hope you noticed coming from, if you came from the main campus or came down K7 headed north this direction, you may have seen that brand new big lighted billboard on K7 in Donahue. It's only been up a few months, so we are looking to buy space on that currently as just a first step, but that's not the whole plan. But because it's brand new, people are seeing it, recognizing it, because it's not been there before, and it's very bright. Right. I love sparkles, so we're looking at that. And I wasn't going to do this because I didn't know if I'd have it, but I do have a new radio commercial that will start to traffic in about 2 weeks. So this will be something that will air on 93 and 104 to push for spring enrollment. So let me see if the mic will pick this up.
Whether you dream of becoming a nurse, electrician, or jazz performer, whatever your interest, whatever your passion, there's a place that can make it a career. Kansas City, Kansas Community College, a place where you create your own future. Learn and achieve. Get your degree or certificate and love what you do. Your next chapter starts at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Come build your future with us. You belong here. Find us online at kckcc.edu. That's kckcc.edu.
Great.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have a 7th grader, and he came home the other day and said, "Mom, I was on some kind of math website for his class, and I saw a KCKCC ad pop up."
All right.
So,
Wonderful.
yay! So
we're getting out there.
We're getting out there.
Right. And that's what we would like. That's what we like.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, that's kind of the highlights. Any
questions?
questions?
Those are
pretty good highlights.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
I like that we're out there, and I like even more this new advertising theme. KCKCC is everywhere. Can you talk about that?
Oh, yes, thank you. I would love to. So, yes, we are doing a new vertical, which will, again, it'll launch in traffic probably Q1, sometime January. We're running film now, and the KCKCC is everywhere platform. We are going out to the community where our alumni are working. We just filmed at Providence Hospital last week, so we were able to get, it was 4 or 5 alum on film, and we asked them, you know, what training did you receive at KCC that's making you so successful in your current job? You know, what was your favorite memory at KCKCC? And then we also were able to get on film their managers. And we got 2 managers at Providence on film asking, why did this Blue Devil stand out during a recruitment and hiring process? And we got some really great footage. So we are getting that put together. So that will traffic, again, Q1. We also have we have a couple days we're working on to go out to Hollywood Casino to do the same thing. They right now have about 15 alumni working on the back end of the casino, on operations, accounting, management, human resources, operations. So we'll get out there and we'll film about 4 or 5 alumni there, as well as our general manager, Mr. L. Thompson. He agreed to go on film. And I think he said 98% of all the revenue for the casino front and back end flows through his office. So he is excited to be part of this. And we're going to continue to find more. So if you know of a company or an alumni somewhere that you want me to reach out to, let me know.
And Mr. Thompson's on our foundation board, is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am. He just came on.
Right. Great. And I saw the ad that was in the Kansas City, Kansas Public School magazine, KCKCC.
I'm sorry, where'd you see it?
In the magazine that goes out to all the residents of KCKCC.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I thought that was great.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
About approval of the report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Great job. All right. All right. Academic Affairs report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You all have my report, and I would stand for questions on where things are. I'll give you a couple highlights. The ATAA conference that was held at the Tech Center was a great success. Thank you to Cliff Smith for his work on chairing that and being on their board. That's a great regional conference, and the participants came down. We did a series of tours to various facilities. I went on the one that went to Amazon and to the Speedway. I didn't know you could seat 50,000 people at the Speedway. And it was an amazing time for all that joined in on the activities. Thank you for the trustees that were able to attend. And Dr. Mosier met with the president from Gateway Community College. The governor was here that day. There was one of the days of the conference, the starting of it. And so it was a great piece, the mayor as well. And so we thank them for participating in it. We started up our tech middle school days where they come out, middle school students come out to the college and participate, going through a variety of stations set up by all the programs at the tech, and they serve about 200 students at each of those events, I believe. Is that right? Oh, where'd Cheryl go? Sorry. But it was a good event, and I want to thank Carly Eastling and her group for putting that together, and the folks from main camp, or from our main location, that come in and help with getting involved in that as well, to try and help support it and cross-train across the things that we're doing. We have plans in Dean's Council to begin some things, with not so much with middle school, but maybe eventually, but with the high school groups that we used to bring in for career fair days within the different disciplines, divisions of the campus. So arts and humanities, hold a session, and we're looking at math and science to do that as well. So it's a great time. And Dr. Dr. Mosher stole my thunder on the grants, but we do appreciate that as well.
It's the privilege of going first.
Right. But I would answer any questions you might have, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, and could you, Dr. Mosher mentioned about the grant that we received about U.S. Department of Education, a $3 million grant.
Right.
Could you talk a little bit about that and how that's going to impact our Department of our education department, or what is it more teachers?
Right. It is to generate more teachers, and it's there's two groups of community college: Seward County Community College and the school district there, and then Kansas City, Kansas Community College and USD 500. And the efforts are to increase the number of secondary teachers that are prepared.
Secondary teachers?
Yeah. And going through Emporia to finish those out as they work through the program. And so generating a pipeline of students coming up, so increasing our efforts in the high schools as part of the Diploma Plus teacher academies, and then bringing them on to the community college, and then on to finish their degree with K-State, with Emporia, with any of the schools, but mainly K-State. Obviously, they're the major player on the grant, but it's a good initiative, and I think we'll have some really solid metrics out of it.
Yeah. Thank you. Great opportunity, I think.
One other follow-up question. Is there going to be any particular areas of emphasis? So, for example, STEM programs or ag, bio-ag stuff?
There will be a STEM focus to some of it. The way that it works with secondary teachers, right, is that they have to choose within a discipline. So as they finish their education, it's in specific fields. Now, this is tied through social sciences in terms of here and there being in charge of our education program, but it will focus on methods classes and things for the different secondary programs as well. So,
okay, thank you.
And I would just add, and it's focused to really serve the underrepresented students in our district and help them be able to achieve a degree in education that will help benefit them and their family.
Right. That is the primary focus, yes. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? May I have a motion to accept the academic affairs report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right. Now we'll have a report from the Student Affairs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so part of my section today is going to cover the SESI. But before we do that, I just want to give you a few highlights on our Student Affairs report. One big thing that we're working on is that our Buildings and Grounds team has cleared us to start the remodel for the Student Success Center. So within the next couple of weeks, we will start moving things around in order to get that space ready. In order for us to continue to serve the students, which is obviously in the advising center and a key component to what we do, we have to be able to move around and kind of be flexible. So things like the testing, the placement testing area is going to be temporarily moved over where Disability Supportive Services is, so that students can still continue to do their placement testing there. There is a computer lab that normally is inside the Student Success Center that is going to be closed down, and we're going to redirect students and encourage them to go use our beautiful Learning Commons, which is where they have, a larger computer lab. The Student Success Advisors will stay in that space, and they will move in phases with construction. So I believe that Jeff is going to start on one side of that space, kind of block it off, move the advisors over, and then we'll work like that. Eventually, the back part of that space is actually going to have my office. So Ms. Tina, Lisa, and I will move to the back part of the Student Success Center, and that'll be the Student Affairs area. And Sean, Darrett, and Nicole, as the Dean of Students, they will move to the space that I'm currently in, across from Disability Services. So we're very excited, much awaited. I know that the advisors have been waiting for this day to come, so they're more than flexible just because they want to get it going. We will also kind of have to play things a little bit carefully because, you know, we'll have enrollment that will start soon for the spring. So I believe, Sean, November 1st. So they will be busy, but we can make it work.
Is there a timeline on when you expect to be complete?
Summer.
Obviously, estimate.
Jeff, are you in here? I don't know if he's in. Summer 2019 is the plan. And as of right now, they're looking at doing quite a bit of it during some of our break, yeah, to minimize disturbance. So, any questions about that or anything in my report before I do the SESI presentation?
And be sure and say what SESI is,
yes,
for those that don't.
Yes, yes.
Dr. Wilson, were you going to mention the default rate?
The what, I'm sorry?
The default rate.
The default rate for the
student loans.
We have a new default rate. I know our financial aid office and everyone is working really hard on ensuring that our students are encouraging that they don't overtake loans so that they can spend them back. Our latest default rate was 9.6%, which is absolutely amazing.
Outstanding.
Right. And Mary is saying that a lot of that is attributed to the fact that they're doing a lot more counseling and a lot more education in that area with the students. I mean, they actually have someone who comes several times a week to sit there and talk to students about, you know, the loan process. And so
I think that's a real success story.
That surely is.
It really is. When you look at what's the national average?
The national average.
It's about 15% is the national average. You know, many institutions are running in the 20%, which is
great job by our staff.
Below 10% is just incredible. I've not seen that myself, so that's good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, you look at our, you know, the population we serve.
Right.
Many first generation, first time college students, and just when you look at our socioeconomic situation, particularly in Wyandotte County, that's fantastic.
It is.
That's fantastic.
Great job.
Great job, yeah.
And on that line, the House of Representatives passed the Empowering Students through Enhanced Financial Counseling Act. How are we using that to further the narrative to help our students as far as counseling?
honestly, Trustee Garner, I don't know how we're going to be using that. So I can try to find out for you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Ready? Okay. So we're going to do the Community College Survey of Student Engagement. Dr. Bohm is going to come up and help us. Just to give you some just quick background before we start, as you know, the survey was done in March. Dr. Stephen Terry kind of helped us make sure we disseminate the survey. Once the results were back, we had a group meeting with the Dean's Council. So the deans were also involved in kind of helping us look at the results and starting to think of some strategies. So today we're going to cover what is the Community College Survey of Student Engagement, so exactly what is SESI, and what is student engagement. So when we talk about student engagement, what are we saying? What were the benchmarks that SESI used to kind of compare the colleges, and what were those outcomes? And who were the respondents? So who did we survey in particular in our college? And obviously we'll do just some quick recommendations and next steps. Okay. So SESI describes student engagement as the amount of time and energy that our students invest in any type of meaningful educational practice, right? So what are the institutional practices, or what are the things that we're doing and the behavior of those students that are highly correlated with retention and with student learning? Research is showing us that the more that a student is engaged, so the more that they participate, the more that they understand the process and the procedures in the college, the more that they're part of activities or events, and the more that they're involved with their faculty and their staff, other students on campus, and with the subject matter that they're studying, the more likely that they are going to be able to learn that material and to achieve whatever their goal is. So KCKCC is just like almost all other community colleges, right? Our goal is that we want to help students learn, and we want our students to achieve those goals, right? We want them to be able to move to that next step. So we can do that, or SESI is telling us we can do that, institutions can do that by using some of these engagement strategies and using some of the data that they provided for us. So students are more likely to persist if they establish those meaningful relationships with the faculty, staff, and peers. They feel connected to their college. If they're successful navigating through the college system, the processes and the procedures, for me that's an important piece, right? Because we do all of the financial aid and admissions and advising, so it's important that students understand what to expect, make it easy, make it flow, be able to have a one-stop center for them. Have connections between now and the future, so they're setting their goals. And I know our advisors or student success advisors do work with students to understand what is their goal, what is it that they're trying to get while they're here at KCKCC. We want them to be active and engaged learners, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. So in the classroom, we want our faculty to be able to present the material that they're learning in a way that is going to challenge them and is going to engage them, get them to be interested. And we want to challenge them, right? We want to make sure that we get the best from our students. The Community College Survey of Student Engagement uses 5 benchmarks, and those benchmarks are the ones that we look at in order to focus on practices and student behavior. So they're active and collaborative learning, academic challenge, we'll go over them in a minute, student-faculty interaction, student effort, and support for learners. The questions in the survey are correlated or kind of lumped into those categories, right? So active and collaborative learning are students learn more when they're actively involved with their education and have the opportunity to think about and apply what they have learned in different settings. So we would like for our faculty to continue to follow the philosophy that not only are you teaching them something in the classroom, but how is that carrying outside of the classroom? What other activities can you do to get them to really understand what they're learning? Academic challenge, so challenging intellectual and creative work is central for student learning. Faculty interaction, in general, the more contact students have with their teachers, the more likely that they are to learn effectively and to persist towards achieving their goal. So for us, you know, I remember being in school as a young adult and going to a community college and having one instructor who just sat up there and lectured the whole time, and I was in the back of the classroom and I was lost, right? I had no idea what was going on. But then I had other instructors who actually did things like putting us in small groups or doing hands-on activities or changing the way that they taught. So it wasn't always lecture. Sometimes it was a group activity or some kind of a project. And for me, as a learner, that was the easiest way for me to learn. And I actually enjoyed the material better when I did something like that than when I had your professor just standing in the front lecturing. So for us, that interaction, I think, is important, but inside and out of the classroom. I think we have a unique model at KCKCC where we have the student success advisors, but we also have program coordinators who advise the students in the areas that they're studying, right? So I think that's helpful that they have someone in that field that they always can go and talk to, like in Dr. Bohm's area, they have someone that they can go and talk to and get advised about nursing and what they need to do to make sure they stay on track with those classes on top of the Student Success Center.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do they have any conversation at all about how the increase in online learning is impacting on that particular area?
There is a whole section for the Community College Survey and Student Engagement for online learning,
okay,
which we did not do. Okay. But there is a whole section on online learning. Okay. Yeah. In the SESI, there's a couple of little questions here and there in the data that we can go back and look and see how we compare to other students with online, little things about how important is online education to you, or how often do you take an online class. So those were some of the questions in there that we can go back and look and see, okay, what does this mean to us as a college when we compare ourselves to our cohort or to the national level. And just to, I guess we can go to the next slide real quick, to to give you an idea of our cohort is medium-sized community colleges that participated in this survey. So that's how they compare us. Overall is everybody, right? So all of the community colleges that participated in this survey. We had, let's see if I have my stuff. For the 2018 SESI, we surveyed 665 students at our campuses. 242 males, 392 females. 182 of those, so 27% was part-time, and 73% of those were full-time. When you compare us to when we did the SESI in 2016, and it was really, in 2016 is the cohort for SESI, but the SESI cohort was really done in 2014, 15, 16. The results came out in 16. We participated in 2015. So when you see 16 on there, that's when the results came out. We actually surveyed our students in 2015 that year. And it was interesting that our results were so similar in a sense of who we surveyed. We surveyed 581 students that year compared to 665 now. And we also surveyed 27% part-time and 73% full-time. So again, SESI for 2018 used a 2-year cohort. So we used results from all of the community colleges that participated for 17 and 18, which was a total of 537 colleges from 47 states, which is a pretty big number. All right. So the next one talks about key findings. So there's a lot of data in SESI, and our goal is to hopefully work with IT and Dr. Mosier and make sure that we put this out on our website. But they give us a little report called Key Findings to just get us kind of going on some main things. So this figure represents how KCKCC, our college's benchmark scores by student enrollment, so full-time versus part-time, in the areas that we had talked about. So when you look at active and collaborative learning, part-time students are red and full-time students are blue. So as you can see, in each area, full-time students did better, in a sense. So to me, that makes sense because full-time students are typically more engaged. They're on campus more, they participate more in activities than our part-time students. So this is compared for our college, our students, our full-time students actually scored higher in a sense in the engagement piece when it comes to active and collaborative learning and student effort in all of the different areas. All right, this next one talks about the benchmarks as compared to other colleges. Now this is, again, the same key areas as compared to the cohort, which I told you the cohort was any medium-sized college that participated, and the overall survey area. So we're red on the screen, and we are at 47.5 when it comes to active and collaborative learning. Compared to, they set the median at 50 for the community colleges at our size, right? So as compared to other community colleges our size, we're just a little bit lower in the active and collaborative learning piece. But when you look at us in the rest of the areas, so student effort, academic challenge, student-faculty interaction, and support for learners, we are actually just a little bit higher than them. We want to go to the next slide. So this slide kind of shows you that a little bit better, and it compares how we did in 2016 compared to 2018. So again, 2016, the 5 benchmarks, and you can see I put little yellow arrows in the areas that we did not do as well as our cohort that year. And in 2016, it was active and collaborative learning, student effort, and academic challenge. This year, we actually have improved, and out of all 5 benchmarks, there's only one that we actually scored lower than the national, which is the active and collaborative learning piece.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Are there any strategies that we're looking at in place to improve those
Yes.
benchmarks?
That's next, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you go back to the slide
Yep.
real quick? So even though we didn't do as well as we would like some area, in 2018, all of our scores went up.
Everything improved.
Everything improved.
Everything improved.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything improved. Now, our goal is that we want to be, obviously, yes, we want to at least be like some of the similar colleges, but we want to be in the top, right? So it's great that we got 50.3, let's say, in 2018 for student effort, and that medium-sized colleges are at 49.6, which means we're higher than them, right? But I would want to be even higher than the best, in a sense.
Delvin, does the data support any conclusions that any of you have reached about how or why we improved?
I don't know that's something we've looked at. Yeah, it's kind of on just where are we and what can we do to get even better.
To get there, yeah.
And I went back to this slide just so that you guys can see one more time when Dr. Wilson's talking about becoming, the best. That's what those blue ones are. Right. So those are the highest performing people. So we're the red, they're the blue. That's kind of where we're wanting to get. We are higher than our cohort, but we want to be one of those top 10 performers.
Right. This next slide it's pretty much like the first one. It just shows you a little bit of, again, the results, 2016 versus 2018. 2018 is the orange, and 2016 is the blue. It just kind of gives you a visual how we did improve on all of those.
So the reason I asked the question is maybe we are doing the right things.
Yeah.
It's just been a short period of time.
Right.
And so maybe there's no need to do anything
Beat yourself up.
different or whatever. Just wonder if you all had, maybe reached any conclusions about why it went up. Could be we're doing the right things. It's just been 2 years. It's just been a short period of time, but we're up in everything.
Yeah, and that's part of what we want to do as our future steps is to continue not only to share the results, but to have focus groups and to have groups that come together and look at the data and then talk about, okay, what do we need to improve in? And we kind of know, but what have we been doing that's working? Because if it's working, we want to continue to enhance that.
Yeah.
That's what's working.
And I do believe that this measure is almost like an institutional scan of the temperament of the environment, and that's, we can say we're better, but in terms of the subsets, there are some things we can do, but I think the general finding that we are heading up is a good thing.
Yeah.
To a good start.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This next slide talks about the aspects of highest student engagement. So what are those things that we are doing a lot better on? So under student effort, prepared 2 or more drafts of a paper or an assignment before turning it in. That is that first block. We are at a 56% compared to a 50%. So obviously our students, when they answered that question, they felt that they were preparing 2 or more papers, Student faculty interaction, the next one is used email to communicate with an instructor. We're actually 73.4%. I think that's great because I come from a lot of schools that we cannot get students to check their emails or to use their emails. So to see that we're actually doing good on using the email and communicating with your instructor is great. The next one is also student-faculty interaction. Discuss grades or assignments with an instructor. So our students do feel like they have the ability and the time to go and talk to their instructors about their grades and their assignments. The fourth one is support for learners. That's encouraging contact among students with different economic, social, and racial and ethnic backgrounds. So we were at a 64% there compared to 55%. And the next one is also a student effort, and that is the frequency, the amount of time that they use the skills lab. So the writing lab, the math lab, our students came in at a 19.3%. So those were the things the questions that they answered that we scored the highest on. Remember, I told you at the beginning that they're grouped into some of the specific areas. So obviously student effort, We came in twice on that, doing very well, and then we did very well on the student-faculty interaction piece. Lois? This next one is lowest. So these are the things that we need to review and kind of consider some new strategies. So the first one is under active and collaborative learning, worked with classmates outside of the class to prepare for class assignments, because our students do not feel like they're working with each other outside of the classroom. So they might be working inside but not outside of the classroom. Tutored or taught other students. We came in at 8.2 on that one. Number of books read on their own or on your own. We're at 18% compared to 20. And at Dean's Council, we talked a little bit, some of the deans who are here might want to chime in a little bit about that one, and why is it that our students are not reading that many books. You know, it could be that they're just using, you know, the internet, or that they're using electronic sources, but so we're not really sure, which is one of the things that we'll do, and that's why we want to have focus groups. Is this something that we want to really focus on, or is there other items of higher importance that we want to focus on for the year, right? Because there's a lot that we can do, but we want to pick 2 or 3 things to concentrate on for the year. Special focus items are specific questions that are changed in the SESI. Every time they give the SESI, they sometimes are different. This year, it was looking at the items that how we compare to our cohort with things such as, yeah, I can't see there. I have to see over here. Let's see. I feel welcome and respected at the college. So that was the main question. And 90.5% of KCKCC students compared to 89.3 actually felt like they do feel that they are welcome and respected in the college. Another one was the college is preparing me for what I plan to do, or what I plan to do in my life. We're slightly higher also than the national benchmark. We're at 82.7% compared to 81.6. And this one is that we're slightly lower than the national average, and that is I have good relationship with others at the college. So we are at a 77.6 compared to an 80.9 nationally. So this next step, Dr. Bohm is going to take over.
So to answer your, oh, hello. Oh, I feel like a rock star now. To answer your question, Trustee Garner.
Just don't drop them.
I will try not to. Sorry, Randy. We kind of have looked at these, as Dr. Wilson said, as a Dean's Council, and looked at where we want to go. And we certainly have no solutions 100%. We just have some ideas up front. So things that you'll notice on the next 2 slides are really about some more data collection. We want to do some focus groups, both with students, with faculty, with the community, and find out how can we improve upon some of these things. One of the big things that really want to work on, as you'll notice on this slide, is to implement that one-stop shop and continue to grow it as far as admissions, recruiting, retention, so that it's happening all simultaneously and it's pretty seamless. So that's really that focus of that first one. Oh, you got it to work. I couldn't get it to work. As far as where we want to look at the data next, you'll see a couple of bullets there to examine it, not only in our institutional committees, but go out and have those focus groups. We want to look at some of the, and I say we as in the staff in student affairs, looking at some of our advising policies and protocols and how can we continue to strengthen those and to continue to get students to use those advisors after they come in for their initial enrollment, to increase our communication between faculty, staff, and students. Although they are emailing, and that's great, we want to continue to build those, as we know that students engaging with their faculty and staff and peers is so very important to their success. We want to look at how we can improve our early alert and retention services. We've started doing that. As an adjunct, I have turned a couple of students into that early alert, and I know they've been contacted by our retention coordinator. But how can we continue to encourage faculty to use that? And then looking at the other areas we can deliver our services as seamlessly and as efficiently as we possibly can. So to give you an idea, obviously, as she said, we want to be at least at the national average in everything, but we would like to be as high as we can and be one of those top 10% performers. But one of the things that we really, well, hello, there's me. That's okay. Yes. Hello, everybody on Facebook land. So the things that, really we noticed, and we've hit these a couple of times, are that we've got to start asking questions. So to give you an idea of what one of those will look like, if you want to hit on the next page, one of the things that we were lowest in, as you saw, was the collaborative working area. So as a Dean's Council, we talked about one of the lowest performing ones was worked with classmates outside of class to prepare assignments. And so some of the ways that we thought maybe in our brainstorming we could help is to reach out to the Center for Teaching Excellence and find out if there are ways that they can help our faculty learn how to craft the most high quality group assignments and group projects for students to be doing, so that we are not only getting our students involved but helping our faculty develop some of the best quality assignments they can. Do you have a question about that?
I was just getting ready to say this might be a time to look at reinstituting the learning community movement that we had on campus maybe 12, 15 years ago, where we were actually connecting and pairing classes.
Mm-hmm.
That has that would definitely work with that stuff.
Absolutely.
As well as retention and recruitment.
And we'll write that one definitely down as one we can talk about, and that would kind of excuse me, be another piece to this. The other one would be, and I know that you probably have all heard about the Learning Spaces Task Force, that we're trying to upgrade some of our learning spaces. But directly targeting this one, we might need to look at what are those learning spaces we have that foster student community activities, for them to come together as a community, a learning community, and work together, because some of those may or may not be conducive to that right now. So it's not just looking at our students and how we can make them more engaged on their side, but what can we do to foster that engagement? So those are the kind of things that we're looking at, just to give you an idea of, and does that kind of answer the question of what we're doing to move forward?
Yeah, and it's good that you all, you recognize the challenges, but you're even more so, you're focusing on the opportunities there for success, and so that's great. That's great.
Was there an opportunity to add additional information in that report, like, for example, all of the intercultural activities or things that promote collaboration curricularly but may not show up in a student question?
There was not, only because by the time we made the decision with Dr. Vietti to go ahead and use the SESI that year, it was past the deadline to use the custom, create your own type of questions, right? So that's why we have the special focus items, which is what you get if you don't do your create your own.
Yeah. And that's something we can utilize our own institutional effectiveness folks to do some more data collection on and figure out, what are the exact things we want to ask. Do we want to ask those learning community questions? Do we want to ask specific questions about the Intercultural Center as it relates to these concepts?
How are you going to use that information with overall faculty, faculty and staff in the college?
You want me to answer, or you want to answer?
You can answer.
Okay. So I think, Dr. Kramer, if I say something you don't like, you can just, happy boss's day, by the way, and you can come up and be my boss for a few minutes. I think, again, we started these conversations in the Dean's Council, and it's one of the things that we are really focusing on is sharing out what we talk about in the Dean's Council that we need our faculty and staff to be aware of. So I think that that would be a first step, is that we're going to start with that. I think Dr. Wilson also mentioned putting it on the website so that everybody can review that data, and then also having those focus groups where we will talk about, here are the areas we perform the lowest, and here are some strategies that the deans came up with. What can you add, or what do you want to delete that maybe doesn't work quite as well? Because the 7 of us sitting in a room can make a lot of decisions and a lot of thoughts, but when you have 171 minds that come together, they may have different ideas. But we felt like putting a first effort out there is going to make it a little bit easier than 171 voices the first time. So,
that's really good information. You just want to be sure it's not a one-shot thing.
Absolutely.
A month from now, nobody remembers what the CCSSE said, and it really is an ongoing conversation. It's making a difference.
It's a practice.
We also want to use this information to share with the students. I think it's important for the students to know what the results of this survey was, and to have these groups with them and sit down and say, okay, so this is what we're doing supposedly good or great. How can we enhance it? How can we improve it? And these are areas that we have a couple of challenges with. What are some ideas? What do you see? So I think it's important for us to also not only involve our faculty and staff, but to make sure that we're including the students in the decision of what strategies or what initiatives we're going to work on.
I think that's excellent. Communication is the most important piece. getting the word out and talking to others and not in a silo, saying we made these decisions.
Sure.
You can open it up for others to contribute.
Trustee McIntyre had another question.
I was just going to say that I hope that the faculty kind of get motivated to figure out how they can implement that into their individual curriculum. And, I give them rewards, put their name in a hat if they can do that. And because the more students get across campus and mix and mingle, the better that retention rate is.
And I'm going to throw in one more plug for AQ. As all of you have heard, we've been doing the AQ, the people that have the little red, I don't even know what you call ribbon, I guess, on their badges. That's one of the things they really focus on is active and collaborative learning. And so we have 36 people who did it last year, and we have another 29 that are going through it this semester. So we're really trying to get more and more people involved, and that's one of the big focuses of their sections is on active and collaborative learning too. So those folks are jumping in, doing their community get-togethers and talking about that as well. So,
and that's where it really gets exciting, and the students catch that.
Yes.
And we'll have an ACU presentation next month for the Board of Trustees.
Right. Wonderful. All right. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I had to hear myself 3 times today, that presentation. Once over here, once over here.
Can we have a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're ready for the Information Services report.
Yes, the Mr. Peter Gabriel is not able to be here today. He's taking part in a leadership institute, so we're glad to have him there, and he would like to have been here today. So you have his report on your screen. A couple things we'd like to point out. If you look at the network services and the availability of those, all of our network services were up above 99.97% of the time. So that's really incredible for the team and how they have the network structured so that we don't have downtime. So that's really remarkable, and thank you for that. Also, with new computers, we started taking a look at that earlier this summer. And at this point, Information Services has completed the replacement of 255 old computers at all 3 of our locations with brand new computers. So really enhancing the student experience. And then one last item. There's a product called Office 365, and that is really your Office package in the cloud. So our new license allows all faculty, staff, and students to be able to access Office 365. Other things that you might find valuable with that, besides the main, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc., are some of the other smaller packages that you can use for efficiency in taking notes, like OneNote, where you can just keep all of your notes and information online. You have access to it all the time, and some other features in there as well. So if anyone has any questions, they can just please feel free to contact the help desk, and they'll be able to help. And our licenses will allow each individual person to install Office 365 on up to 5 devices. So you can put it on your computer, your iPad, your phone, or anything like that, and they all sync together. So no matter what device you go to, you'll always have access to those files. So it's a very nice package. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions? May I have a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we will hear from Ms. Christina McGee from the Human Resources Office.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I don't have any major updates to report from the HR area. I did forget to mention and place in the report, now Human Resources has a site on SharePoint so that we can better communicate with employees with regards to any updates or communication regarding the Human Resources area. Employees can also go out to that site and access any resources that they need as it relates to human resources. So it's just a better effort for us to continue to communicate any updates and provide resources to our employees so that there's one point of access. So they're not having to just hear information from HR, but those documents will actually live on the SharePoint site. And so that can be accessed through MyDOT, and it's under the link Campus Resources. So that's up. We've created it, and we'll continue to update and develop it as new resources are available. The other thing that I forgot to mention that we did in the month of October is meeting with our staff senate. They had about 24 questions or so, which sparked more questions. So we met with them for about an hour and 45 minutes, just answering any employee questions that they had for human resources. So those are some of the things that we did in the month of October. And as we're continuing to update our policies, you can see in the report here, we have another set of policies, compliance policies, to be reviewed by the board policy committee today. So I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
What kind of questions did the student groups that you met with have? Well, just generally.
Or the staff senate group?
Excuse me, staff senate, yes.
There were several centered around the compensation study. So how will we be utilizing it? How did we get to the grades that we have? How will this be implemented going forward? There were several questions about just job descriptions. So a lot of it mainly was centered around the compensation study. And then there were some specific questions as it related to individuals in their particular job. So we tried to have those conversations offline, even though it came up through the staff senate.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move approval of the report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, now we are at Finance and Administrative Services Report. Mr. Mike Beach.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to, you have my report in your board effects for your review, and I'm not going to go through that in detail because there's a couple of other items here on the agenda that are outside of that report that we need to address. First is we met with the Finance Committee last week and went through a number of capital projects that we are in need of getting underway, and they voted on approval of those projects. I'd like to invite Cliff Smith and Jeff Sixta up to go through roughly those projects, explain them, and answer any questions you may have about them.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We got the HVAC units that are up here that need to be worked on. That was for $15,500.
Can you pull the mic down, please?
Where are those, Jeff?
That was for up here. $15,500 for this unit up here.
At Pioneer?
Yes, at the Pioneer Center. We've got the cooling tower at the main campus. That's right behind the tower wall there. That's for $167,000. The concrete, we bid that up at $240,000. It actually came in at $182,000. We're hoping to get that started today. Arc flash training was bid out at $75,000. We got it for $45,000. And then the driver's ed car was for $15,500. Any other questions?
I'd just like to comment. In the Finance Committee, and I know I didn't have a report, but I really want to commend you all, because if you listen to these projects, that they either came at bid or under bid, and they've really worked hard on trying to save the college and our taxpayers money in that regard by being really methodical in these projects. So I'd like to commend you all, as well as just taking the vision of the board. And really, if you look at our campus, our main campus, I mean, it's really starting to show that investment when you look at the work that's been done across the campus, and as we expand inward and even at the Pioneer Center. I mean, it really says a lot about our leadership and really taking the wishes of the board forward and making our campus you know, a great place to not just see, but to be as well. So thank you all in that effort. You guys have done an awesome job.
Thank you.
Jeff, just to be sure that I'm clear in my own mind, because it's been a long time since we entered into this agreement up here. I'm sure we wouldn't be pursuing it if it wasn't our responsibility on that HVAC units here. So
the agreement is that anything that is outside of the building is our responsibility for the HVAC part. Everything on the inside is mainly our responsibility too, as that's the main section. But the compressors and stuff, that's what we're replacing, is the compressors up top, and that falls under us.
Okay.
So they do the lawn mowing and they do the snow removal, and then anything with the roof and stuff they take care of.
All right, well, thank you. It's been a long time since I couldn't recall the details of the agreement. And just so that I'm clear in my mind, some of the trustees weren't even on the board at that time, so that they're clear and so that anybody watching on TV, you know, understands. Because I know we don't own the building.
And Leavenworth has done a good job. Anytime we've called them, they've showed up within an hour or
Yeah.
so to fix the problems that we've had. The PA system did go down. I talked to Mr. Beach the other day, and so we're looking at getting a wireless, in case we don't keep this building, getting a wireless PA system throughout the building so that we can take it with us if we don't
Take it
stay.
with us. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
I'd like to say something about Jeff's group, because I've been down there a couple months, and since I started at the college, two of the best things we have here, I think, is the campus police in buildings and grounds, and they've shown that since I've been there. So,
excellent.
I got one more question. Where are we at on the little bridge by the pond? I know we did a good job with the larger bridge, and then also the marquee signs. I know that we've talked about that, and you know, just that's coming, but I'm just seeing where are we at in that process.
The marquee signs are being built right now, so we're very close on those. The bridge, they're getting ready to get started, but just not quite there yet. Yep.
and the construction class, or building and property maintenance class, is getting ready to help Andrika and stuff, and they're going to do the nature trail bridge. They're going to redo that and stuff, so they're getting started on that. And then construction classes also started building all the walls for the fire science. We had Rodina come in and do the plumbing, so that's going. That's the next step of finishing that area out, for the inside anyway.
I noticed yesterday on campus the geese were back in full force. Did you all lose
We hired
your
him back for a
enforcer?
while, yeah.
Did you all lose your enforcer? We still have our canine enforcer.
No, we don't.
We don't.
No,
we don't. I think we need to get another
another dog, don't we?
Yeah. Animal control, I'm sure, can help with that, right?
Sounds like a good
Chief?
idea.
Right, Chief? Yeah, animal control can help with that.
We
All
did
right.
look at a drone, and my son flew one over there, and it did scare him.
It did
so
scare
we're
him.
looking at getting a drone for somebody to run it and fly it and stuff,
Oh,
and
cool.
scare them off out of that way.
All right. Yeah. Somebody's retiring soon. Be on Goose Patrol.
Any other questions? Comments?
Well, they can do so much damage, you know, and they leave a mess, and I know that makes your alls work harder. You know, so I love them, but boy, they're a pain.
Give me a weekend.
And with that, we're closing the.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We can always adopt a program of drone flying or piloting certification, unmanned aircraft certification, and then
Absolutely.
we'll set our students loose in an experiential learning activity to get rid of all the geese.
Hey, that is a growing field.
The other thing on my report that I just wanted to cover real quick is the county adjustment to the 2017 mill levy. This really goes beyond just the 2017 mill levy. This conversation came about as I was reviewing the financial statements, and we presented this again to the Finance Committee and felt like we needed to give a presentation to the board. And the Finance Committee has asked us to give them a written summary of this process so we now understand it. So Marie Brandstetter and I are working on that document that we'll present to the Finance Committee next month. In short, as we go through the budget process, and start accumulating information to derive what we think our property tax revenues are going to be. We are working from a preliminary assessment of valuation that the county does on our behalf. And so that drives all of our numbers. And normally, up until like we got to this process, it was my assumption that as an institution, we absorbed the valuation risk. In other words, as we move through the year, eventually those valuations are certified and they become more official. And that although we were trying to accomplish a certain dollar amount, that the fluctuation, if you will, in any valuation between the preliminary assessed evaluation and the final certified valuation was our risk, and it would change our dollar amount. Well, what we've come to find out is that that's not the case. We actually certify or use that a preliminary valuation and mill levy to drive a dollar amount, and for us as an institution, that dollar amount stays fixed. We bear the collection risk of that dollar amount, but we don't bear the valuation risk of the property values that drive that dollar amount. So as the county certifies the valuation, and they look to, they basically give us a fixed dollar amount of revenue, the valuation risk basically is borne by an adjustment to the mill levy. So the mill levy can go up or down a little bit each year. And I felt like that was important for me to explain, because as you read through the financial statements, your mind is going to go back to, wait a minute, this isn't exactly the mill levy we just approved the August before. What just happened? And there may be some questions from the public. So part of the aspect of the written document is for us to be able to have a consistent message that if the public was to contact us and ask questions, we can give them a consistent answer on that we didn't raise their income, or not their income, we didn't raise their property taxes.
Right.
So I wanted to present that to you just so we all understand, I guess, the process. The valuation adjustments or the mill adjustments are very minute. They go out to the 100th digit, generally speaking. Every once in a while they might go to the 10th digit, but most of the time it's a 100th digit fluctuation. So with that, I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Not necessarily a question, but just wanted to commend you, Mr. Beach, for taking us through that, because I think it's important that we make our position clear on that, because several months back I know that several of us at various board meetings made the statement that we will not drive your county property taxes upward or do anything to increase your taxes. So thank you for helping us to create some equilibrium and some clarity around that issue.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And transparency.
Yes.
I think that means we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Right. And one of the things, too, in this process that we talk about property taxes that we know that we kind of combat all the time, but again, it helps with a consistent message, is unfortunately property valuations, as we know, do go up and they go down during economic prosperity or recession. And usually most taxpayers are going to look at that bottom line dollar amount, right? And they're not necessarily paying attention to whether their mill is increasing or their valuation is increasing or changing. They're just simply looking at that dollar amount at the bottom of that statement. And they're going to look at that and they're going to say, because if their valuations go up, that dollar amount goes up. And a lot of them are going to come back and say, there goes the government again raising my property taxes. And that's not the case, but again, it helps to understand the process, the valuation process, the levying process, so that we can share that message with the public and help them understand that their property taxes do fluctuate from year to year, and most of the time it is a product of the valuation. Every once in a while it is the result of a levy change.
But technically the board didn't change. I mean, there was no motion on this board's part to increase our property taxes.
Right, technically there wasn't, but just anything that we would do that might influence that was really more the messaging.
Give the appearance that.
And there have been times our tax rate went down because the valuation went up and up. So it fluctuates and goes both ways.
And that's a good note too. As a board, you just know that you don't have to vote. When the county changes that mill in order to certify the valuation, that does not require action on the board's part, even if the mill goes up a little bit. You don't have an obligation to vote that increase or that change in the mill.
Right. I have one question that's bothered me ever since I moved to Wyandotte County. On the residential payment sheet that everyone gets, it still lists us as junior college. We have not been at junior college since 1976. And I don't know if there's any way of changing that on that official Wyandotte County document or not, but we are a community college.
They are still going off of the legal entity name that is on file with the state of Kansas. So if we want to change that, we would have to change it with the state. Not that it can't be done. Council?
I'd like to note for the board members, on the page you have bank balances per general ledger. Down at the bottom of that chart on the left, there's a notation about the 91-day treasury rate. Now, 2.180 doesn't look like a lot, but Ray, it wasn't that long ago before it was less than 1 point, you know, so, and it was that way for a long time. So we have seen significant, you know, improvement and growth in that area.
Thank you.
And there's nothing we do or don't do. It's the economy. You know, it's just the economy. And so, Ray, matter of fact, I don't know since we've been on board if it ever was at 2 point anything.
I don't think so.
And like I said, for a long time it was below 1 point anything. You know, so that's good news.
Well noted. It wasn't that long ago, just within the last couple, 2 or 3 years, and then 4 or 5 years before that, that most interest rates on CDs and other deposit certificates was about 1/4%, maybe 0.2. And so to see those interest rates coming up, that's a good thing for investors. It's a bad thing for borrowers.
Right.
So as we work with our students, we have our work cut out for us as we have a phenomenal default rate. As that interest rate goes up and ever increases, it's going to put pressure on that default rate. So we have our work cut out for us on both sides of that spectrum.
Absolutely.
I'd just like to follow through. I appreciate the transparency that came out of the Finance Committee with that presentation on the mill levy. And I mean, that's good information, and it's really good for the public to know that we have held the line, this current board has held the line on being committed to not raising the mill levy, which we've been true to, and we voted in that regard. But there's things that occur in the county, and I appreciate you explaining that are outside of our control that can impact that beyond our ability to have any control mechanisms in place to balance that with the spirit of where we want to be. I guess moving forward, I guess I want the public to know that we are committed to being fiscally responsible, and I believe we have been. And if you could just hit a little bit on our financial health and what that looks like as far as where we're at as a college, because I think that's really key and important. That really plays into, we haven't raised our mill levy, we've been fiscally responsible, and I think the numbers really play that out when you really take a hard look at them. If you could explain that.
Yes, thank you. I think one of the greatest measures of the financial health of any organization is how we are building our reserves, our operating reserves. And last year, the college did great strides in adding to their reserves. It's a product of both the budgeting process and having a true budget, but then also the fiscal responsibility of making a concerted effort that just because we budget the money doesn't mean we necessarily have to go out and spend it all. This year, so we're closing out also the 2018 year with approximately about another $2.7 million that will be added to the reserves. We've budgeted for this year about another $2.5 million to be added to the reserves. And so as we go through the year, we're going to do everything that we can to continue to boost those reserves. They're important to have a good benchmark, as we've explained to the Finance Committee, is that each institution really ought to have about 6 months in their reserves to be able to operate from, meaning that if all revenue all revenue sources ceased, that the college would be able to continue to meet all of its obligations and continue to teach out, if you will, which is very important to the students, the obligation that we have for the tuitions we've collected. We would be able to continue to exist for 6 months just from our reserved cash flows. And again, from the obligation that we have to students who are paying tuition, the ability to teach out that tuition is critical. And so we're doing everything that we can to get there. We're about 4-ish months in reserves right now. The challenge that we will always have is that as our operating expenses go up, we're always going to be chasing those reserves. Because as we add to those operating expenses, it heightens the number of the dollar amount of reserves that we need in order to keep up with that operating demand. So I share that with you just so you know that even though we're adding a lot of money to the reserves, we're not necessarily gaining a lot of ground as a number of months that we need because our operating expenses are also going up. So part of it is a concerted effort, and we've made that concerted effort this year in the budget process to make sure that we are budgeting enough to the reserves to exceed the demand that is being placed on us from an operating increase so that we can truly make up ground and add ground to those reserves.
And I guess I'll just add to that. Just in short, I've asked this, and really I just want to assure everyone on this board and in the community that when I've asked the question in the budget committee, basically our health assessment is strong, and we're operating at budget or below, and I think that says a lot, while also being able to increase our reserves to hit that benchmark that Mike just talked about. So it says a lot about our president and our staff as far as being fiscally responsible and managing the money that this board approves for this college to operate. And I think that bodes well to the confidence that I know our taxpayers have in us being good fiduciaries of their tax dollars. So thank you for the work you've done.
Thank you.
And if I may just add to that a little bit, if community members or anyone are looking at our fiscal sheets, our monthly burn rate is about $5 million a month to pay all fees and salaries and benefits, et cetera. So when we're looking at a 6-month reserve just for operational purposes, we're looking at a minimum of $30 million. So the community may look at us and say, well, you have $30 million sitting there. Well, that's, per accreditation, Higher Learning Commission, we have to have that, right? So, and as we look at the opportunities that are ahead for Kansas City, Kansas community colleges, expansion opportunities, new partnerships with business and industry, and what that might take to build a new building, depending upon what we do here at Pioneer Career Center, we need to go above and beyond that $30 million, because that $30 million just needs to sit there in a case of emergency. But we need to be planning for the future, and I think we're doing a good job at that as well by allocating some funds so when it comes down to a capital project or an expansion opportunity, no matter where that might be, or increasing the instructional technology that we have in our facilities, we need to plan for that as well. So I commend Mr. Beach for what he's doing from that fiscal aspect as well, the board support, and then everyone and what they're doing and trying to be very responsible in our spending and not just spend it because we have it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Can I have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You so much. All right, and we are at the point of unfinished business, and I don't think we have any at this time.
We've got a couple things.
Okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I would like to thank everyone for operating so smoothly in my absence last month. I was at a family memorial service, and I missed you all. And then I would like to do an advertisement for the theater department. A good show last weekend, The Price is Right, for students, faculty, staff, and Board of Trustee members. And it's one of my goals to reinstitute something that I invented a number of years ago, the first nighters. So the first night of a production, we can all go out someplace and celebrate and then go see the show. Support our students on the stage.
All right. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, we saw an email the other day, and it was mentioned, and we may discuss it at the board meeting, about a food collection or a food drive for November. Would this be the appropriate time to talk about that? Or
Just sidebar.
We can do it.
Sidebar?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sure. One of the things that we're looking at doing as the Board of Trustees and the President, as we get into the month of November and we're getting closer to Thanksgiving, the board and I are going to do a food drive and see how much food we can gather by our next board meeting, and we'll bring that with us, and hopefully the table will be overflowing and the floor will be overflowing with food from our donations to go to the KCKCC food pantry. So it's
Excellent.
a perfect time of year to help those students that have difficulty helping themselves, and I think it's going to be an exciting and a lot of fun by the Board of Trustees. So something to look forward to for next month's board meeting.
Do we need to get an approval from the full board?
Anyway. We can do that. So all in.
Everybody in favor of doing that for November?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I believe we will be doing that for our students next month, okay?
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to join in.
That's right.
Yeah, anybody want to
That's
help
right.
us?
Join the challenge.
Call us.
That's right.
Bring food for the next committee meeting.
All right.
And we will be good to go board meeting.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, we're at
Madam Chair.
new business. I'm sorry.
One more unfinished business thing, if I may.
Sure.
Okay. Just had a question for Mr. Beach. Do we have a follow-up on my question from the last board meeting and the last Finance Committee meeting about the Business Continuity Disaster Recovery Plan, as far as when it was last tested, where it is, what the plans are to test it, et cetera, or at least an update?
I don't have a status of where that plan is right now, when the last time it was updated, but Chief and Peter Gabriel and myself will be getting together, looking at both the emergency plan and the disaster recovery plan, as well as the business continuity plan, together, and assess where we are, when we need to go through another assessment, what needs to be updated, and we'll have a report for you at the next month's Finance Committee meeting and board meeting.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank you for doing that, because as an old timer, I know we have been struck by tornadoes or tornado-like winds at least 4 times that are documented. So we appreciate all you do and all security does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
We look
thank you.
forward to hearing that report. All right. And now we're new business. 2018-2019 Board of Trustees goals were presented at our board retreat. As we said earlier, that we had a retreat on October the 16th. And I would just like to review some of the goals that we have set as a board. And one is to monitor student progress and satisfaction. I think that is evident in the reports that we have had today. We are going to be reviewing all of those reports. We are going to monitor employee, student, and community data, which we are always doing, trying to make sure that those things stay positive. Develop a positive relationship with incoming president to ensure success for the board, the president, and the college. And I think we're off to a good start. And we're looking forward to continue working together. We also will plan to support strategies that ensure the long-term physical health and physical maintenance of the college, and that is apparent that we're working on. Create and maintain a high-functioning board unit by adhering to the principles of effective boardsmanship. we are working together trying to make sure that we all are on the same page for the things that we are trying to do for the college. We will provide direction for the development of a strategic plan for the college and enhance image of the college in the community. I think we've all worked real hard to make sure that our community knows what we're doing here at Kansas City, Kansas. As I said, we are a best kept secret, and we don't want to be a secret anymore. We want to get out in the community and do the things that we know we can do. So with that, these are our goals for 2018-19. They will be on the website, is my understanding. So those of you who have not seen them can look at them later. I am asking for, if there are any other concerns or comments that the rest of the board want to make about our goals, I'll take them at this time. If not, may I have a motion to approve the 2018-19 Board of Trustee goals?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Board of Trustee goals for 2018-19. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We've got some goals to work on. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right. Now I will need a motion for an executive session. Do we know how long? 10 minutes? Okay. What time? So we go.
Action to follow. We'll make that motion.
Okay, so we're going to say we'll be back about 11 o'clock. It's 10:48. It's 10:48.
11. Second.
11? Okay.
Do you need a second?
Moved and seconded that we adjourn to an executive session to discuss pending litigation with legal counsel for the purpose of discussing matters deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. All in favor?
With action to follow.
With action to follow.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So move. We'll be seeing you back here at 11 o'clock.
sorry. I know. For us, I just,
When you do the policy committee meeting, those who are in there,
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay. Get away from Right.
Yeah. Thank you. You and me both.
I know, right? He's got the fast share of the day. That's right. The nation of falling in.
Call the meeting back to order. Can I get a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other concerns that we need to speak to before adjourning the meeting? Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We adjourn the meeting. Meeting is adjourned.